Chapter 21 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda. Guha, a chieftain of hunters. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Shringabairapura was a place which was ruled by Guha, a chieftain of hunters. It was well known that he was a great friend of Rama. He was a powerful king in his own way, with a large army at his command. He heard that Rama had arrived in the neighborhood and hastened towards the spot where Rama was, with his ministers and other attendants. Rama saw him approaching and went towards him to embrace him. They were good friends, and the meeting between them was tender. After a while, Guha spoke to Rama and said, Rama, my friend, tell me what I should do to please you. This place is as much yours as Ayodhya. It is not often that one is fortunate enough to entertain a glorious guest like you. Guha had brought with him food, and he spread what was a feast in front of Rama and said, Welcome to you, great one. Please accept my hospitality. This kingdom is yours. Please stay with me and rule this kingdom. At the moment, refresh yourselves with the different kinds of food I have brought for you. There is rice, milk and curds, honey, food and sweet dishes cooked in diverse ways. I have brought also mattresses for all of you. Please honor me by using them. Rama smiled at Guha and said, You have come all the way walking to welcome me, and you have so much affection for me that I am touched by your gesture. Embracing Guha, again and again Rama said, I am pleased to see you well and happy. I hope your kingdom is thriving and that your subjects are happy. As for this feast which you have spread out before me, I am afraid, Guha, I am not in a position to accept it. I have to refuse to partake of it. I have taken upon myself an oath to live the life of a tapaswin. I must wear tree bark and deer skin, and my food will be fruits and roots gathered by hand. You asked me how best you can please me. I will be immensely grateful to you if you will see to the feeding of these noble horses. They are very dear to my father, and I should take good care of them till I need them no more. They should be returned safely. Rama, with his upper cloth tied round his waist, entered the waters and offered the evening worship to the sun who was setting. He then drank water which had been brought to him by Lakshmana. Rama sat on the bed of dried leaves which had been prepared by Lakshmana, and he smiled with affection when Lakshmana washed his feet, wiped them with his cloth and massaged them. Rama lay down with Sita, and soon he was asleep. Sumantra and Lakshmana sat around watching them. Guha had his bow and arrows in his hand, and he thought that he should guard Rama. No one of the three slept that night. The very night seemed to keep jealous watch over this noble prince who, till then, had never known what discomfort was, who was the son of a king and who now slept on this bed of dried leaves because of the vagaries of fate. Guha was sorry for Lakshmana, who was keeping awake and standing guard over Rama. He said, Child, Lakshmana, here is a bed which I have made for you. Why should you not relax your limbs and rest for a while? You are accustomed to comfort, and we will guard Rama tonight and all through the night. You need have no worry. Forget your cares for a while and sleep, my son. In this world there is no one dearer to me than Rama, and I swear that in the name of truth itself. Because of him I have learned the lesson that in this world the accumulation of dharma is the only wealth worth earning and not the riches of the earth. With my many followers, I will guard my dear friend. Nothing can happen in this place without my knowing about it. I have at my command a large army. Lakshmana said, Guha, my friend, you are indeed very noble and full of affection for us. I do not have the least worry about the safety of Rama when you are here, you who seem to me to be the very image of Dharma. Tell me, how can I sleep or rest after seeing my beloved brother sleeping on the ground with his wife Sita? How can I think of hunger or thirst or sleep when my heart is ready to break at the sight of this noblest among men lying like a mendicant on the ground? This warrior, who can vanquish Indra himself in war, is now sleeping on a bed made of leaves. Rama has no equal either in the noble qualities which abound in him, or in the wealth of learning, or in the knowledge of the codes of Dharma. My father, the king, will not live very long after his son's departure to the forest. The world will soon lose her lord. That beautiful city Ayodhya will soon look desolate, having lost her lord. I am sure of it. The palace will be without any noise, since the women would have collapsed in sheer exhaustion after they have cried their eyes out. I doubt very much if the king and our mothers Kausalya and Sumitra will survive this night. My mother, at least, may perhaps live to see Shatrughna, her other son. But Kausalya, separated from her only son, will die of grief. My poor father, the king, has lost sight of his beloved son, who is a divine being, so pure and sinless is he. How can life remain in my father's body after all this? Once the king is gone, Kausalya Devi will also die, and my mother is also sure to follow them. My father could not realize his desire to crown Rama as Yuvaraja. What has happened has happened. Nothing can change the course of events, and the king will certainly die. Fortunate will be the son who will be able to perform the funeral rites to his father. Do you think the king will survive this calamity? Do you think we will be able to see him after we return from the Dandaka? Will the day ever come when we enter the city of Ayodhya, having completed our exile? Lakshmana was beside himself with grief. Guha shed tears of sympathy, and he could not speak a word. He was overcome with sadness and compassion for the young prince who was so devoted to his brother, and the night passed slowly. The song of the birds woke up Rama, and soon they were standing on the banks of the Ganga. Rama said, Lakshmana, the sun is about to rise. The birds are making such sweet music, the heart feels uplifted with joy. I can hear from a distance the raucous sound made by the peacocks. Let us perform the worship of the sun and then cross this sacred river who is rushing towards her lord, the sea. Lakshmana conveyed the wishes of Rama to Guha and Sumantra and came back to Rama. Guha summoned his attendants and said, Get a boat ready. Take good care that she is strong and well built. She should be able to cross this turbulent Ganga without any effort. Rama and the other two must have a comfortable crossing. The boat was soon brought to the edge of the river. Guha went to Rama and said, Rama, my friend, I have got a boat ready for your crossing. Is there anything else I can do for you before you leave? Guha, you have given me all that I asked for, said Rama. Help Lakshmana load the boat with the weapons. The brothers, accompanied by Sita, took up their bows and arrows, and their swords were strapped to their waists. And they walked towards the river bank where the boat was waiting to take them across. Sumantra went to the presence of Rama and stood before him. Rama touched him with his right hand and said, Sumantra, go back to the presence of the king. Sumantra was weeping, and Rama said, Do not grieve, Sumantra. The king needs you, and you must stay by his side. I have no need of a chariot anymore. From here onwards, I must walk into the forest. You should go back to Ayodhya. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. Jai Shri Ram. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 21a of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, Guha, a chieftain of hunters, continued. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Sumantra spoke with pain in his heart. He said, Rama, it has never happened before in the line of the Ikshvakus. A prince with his wife and brother is planning to live in the forest for the duration of 14 years. I see now that proficiency in the study of the Vedas, performance of all religious rites which are meant to please the Devas, are all futile when one like you has been made to suffer thus. Fortunate indeed will be the dwellers in the forest who will see the three of you. You will seem to them to be Narayana himself, who has deigned to descend to the earth to graze her. As for us, we are the most unfortunate of all human beings. We have sinned in our previous births and we are suffering for it. He stopped for a moment and continued, because of Kaikeyi, we are doomed to suffer eternal sorrow. Contemplating on the separation from Rama, Sumantra could not contain himself and he could not control either his grief or his tears. He washed his eyes with water and still his tears were flowing. Rama spoke to him in a gentle, soft voice. Sumantra, I am yet to see one who is as devoted to the family as you are. It is up to you to take care of my father and help him to bear the pain at parting from me. My old father could not achieve the desire in his heart, and he is sorely distressed by it. You know how firm I am in following the dictates of Dharma. Because of the compulsion to please Kaikeyi, my father, the king, had to take recourse to this step, and I have to do so as I am bid. He will be very unhappy, and you should not abandon him at this stage. My father has never suffered like this before. He is aged and he deserves to be honored by everyone. Please convey this message to him from me. Father, I am not in the least unhappy about living Ayodhya or about the life in the forest which I have undertaken. Neither Sita nor Lakshmana are unhappy. After the lapse of 14 years, we will return to the city and take the dust off your blessed feet. There is no doubt about the happiness that is in store for us when we will be reunited. Sumantra, tell him that I spoke these words after saluting him. After a while, Rama spoke again. He said, give this message to the king. Then convey my respects to my mother Kausalya and Sumitra and Kaikeyi and all the mothers I have in the palace. Tell them that I am happy and well, and so are Sita and Lakshmana, who also send their respects. You should be the one to bring my brother Bharata to the king. You should advise him to conduct himself in a manner which will please the king and make him happy. When Bharata is crowned and the country has a Yuvaraja, this grief in your mind will abate slowly. Tell Bharata that I have asked him to be equally affectionate towards all the wives of the king. Tell him in my words, Bharata, you should treat Sumitra with the same affection which you have for Kaikeyi. Even like her, my mother should be the object of your affection. These two women are quite unhappy because of the absence of their sons. You should pay special attention to them. Rule the kingdom righteously and earn a place for yourself in the world to come. Sumantra refused to be comforted. He said, Rama, Ayodhya will now be like a woman who has lost her child. How is it possible for me to enter the city without you? This chariot which had you when it left the city will now be empty, and the entire city will set up a veil of woe. The horses will refuse to pull the empty chariot, I can assure you. I will not go back to Ayodhya. Please take me with you. If you do not let me come with you and go away, I will throw myself into fire and kill myself. I will be of help to you, Rama, in the forest. I did not have the good fortune to be the charioteer when you were crowned. Let me at least do that duty in the forest. Rama's eyes were wet because of the love his charioteer had for him. He said, Sumantra, you do not have to tell me how much you love me. I know it only too well, and I also know that you would like to be with me all the time. But I have to send you back to Ayodhya. I have a reason for it. I will tell you. My young mother Kaikeyi will see you enter the city without me and Sita and Lakshmana. Then and only then will she be sure that I have reached the forests. She will cease to doubt the words of my father, or else she will persist in torturing the king by calling him untruthful. My younger mother will see her son established on the time honored throne which my father has graced all these years, and she will be happy. That is my only desire. For my sake and for the sake of the king, you should go back. Rama then turned to Guha and said, My friend, I should no longer dwell in palaces or in places which are frequented by men. I have to take up the life of a dweller in an ashrama, and that is the rule set down for me. I must make myself fit to dwell in the midst of tapaswins, and I must wear my hair as a jata. Please bring me the milk of the Nyogrodha tree so that I can twist my hair into a tangled mass. Rama and Lakshmana had adopted the tree bark in the palace itself, and now their guise as tapaswins was complete. Seeing them with their jata, Sumantra wept loudly. Rama spoke to Guha and said, It is only too well known that ruling a country is not easy. I wish you well. I take leave of you and Sumantra. They stood on the banks of the river Ganga, and Rama said, Lakshmana, assist Sita to get into the boat. Hold it firmly until she is seated. Then you should enter the boat. After they had seated themselves in the boat, Rama set his foot into the boat. Guha prompted the oarsmen to steer them safely across the river. Rama closed his eyes and prayed for the success of his arduous undertaking. He prayed that he should ever please the Lord by his actions. He prayed that he should win a good name and fame as a righteous man. Rama and Lakshmana touched the water and did Achamana. Again he took farewell of Sumantra and Guha, who were standing on the bank of the river with swimming eyes. Rama asked the oarsmen to untie the boat and to set sail. The boat began to move, and it moved fast. When they had reached the middle of the river, Sita prayed to Ganga with folded palms. She said, Devi, Ganga, please grant me that this lord of mine, Dasharatha's son, reaches the other bank safe. Please grant that after 14 years, we should, all three of us, return here safe. I will worship you again after we return. I have no doubt that my prayers will be answered, since you are ever bountiful with your gifts. You are famed in all the three worlds. You are the favored queen of the ocean. I prostrate before you, and when we come back and when my lord goes back to his city, I will give away gifts of gold and cows to the Brahmins to please you. Grant that we return safe to Ayodhya. Soon they reached the southern banks of the Ganga. Rama abandoned the boat and sent it back to Guha. He then spoke to Lakshmana. You should be alert always, Lakshmana. We should remember to protect Sita. You walk first, and Sita will follow you. I will walk behind her, and thus we will proceed. This will be the best way to pursue our journey. If something happens in spite of all caution, it will then be beyond our power to rectify it. In a mood of affection for me, Sita has undertaken this difficult life in the forest. It is not going to be easy for her. From here onwards, there will be no habitation, and, as such, the paths will be difficult to follow. There will be ups and downs, and we must guard her very diligently. And so they entered the forest, Lakshmana in the lead, Sita in the middle, and Rama bringing up the rear. A-U-Ma Om. Sumantra, who was watching them as he stood on the northern bank of Ganga, stood still and watched until they were out of sight. Wiping his tears, he turned away from the southern bank, his eyes, which could see nothing any longer. Apadamahartaram dataram sarvasampadam lokabhiramam Shriramam bhuyo bhuyo namamyam. Jai Shri Ram. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 22 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, the third night of the exile. Apadamahartaram dataram sarvasampadam lokabhiramam Shriramam bhuyo bhuyo namamyam. When evening approached, the three travelers, Lakshmana, Sita and Rama, reached a big tree whose shade seemed to be large enough to accommodate all three of them. They watched the sun set and then sat down under the tree. Rama said, Lakshmana, this is the first night we are spending outside the country. We do not have even the company of Sumantra. I can see that your emotions are still beyond your control. That should not be so. Compose yourself. Tonight, we can spend here spreading the leaves on the ground. They lay down on the ground and spent the night conversing about Ayodhya and the king. Rama said, the king will be sunk in sorrow tonight. As for Kaikeyi, she will be extremely happy since her desire has been achieved. A sudden fear is now frightening me. Once Bharata is made the Yuvaraja, will Kaikeyi leave my father alive? What will my unfortunate father do, alone as he is, without me by his side, old in body, unhappy in mind, and entirely in the power of Kaikeyi because of his love for her? Lakshmana, when I think of this change in the mind of the king and his sorrow, I feel that Kama is more powerful than Dharma, Artha and Moksha. Or else, how could he have banished me to the forest? For the sake of his wife, which father will abandon his son who has ever been obedient and loving towards him? Even an ordinary illiterate man will hesitate to do so. I hope Bharata will be able to rule the great Kosala unassisted by anyone. If perchance my father loses his life because of the sorrow caused by separation from me, Bharata will have to be alone with the burden of ruling the kingdom. King Dasharatha, who has sacrificed his dharma and artha because of his kama, which held him under its sway, will, I am afraid, leave us soon. Kaikeyi, who will be deluded by the power which will be hers, will perhaps banish our mothers and their dependents. Lakshmana, I am worried about them. Why should Sumitra suffer for my sake? I think you should go back to Ayodhya. I will have Sita with me and we will live together in the forest. You should go back and protect your mother and mine from the possible tyranny of Kaikeyi. She hates my mother and she is likely to be cruel enough to do injustice to the two queens. You must go back and see that Bharata does not overstep dharma. I see the urgency, Lakshmana. Perhaps in some previous birth, my mother had separated some mothers from their sons and that is why she is suffering now. At this age when she should be served by me, whom she has brought up with such loving care, she has been separated from me. I am unfortunate since I am not able to serve my parents at this stage of their lives. I have been the cause of immense grief to my mother. I am her only son and it is my duty to be by her side. But I am far away and she is grieving for me. Kausalya, my mother, is the most unfortunate woman. Lakshmana, you know me and my prowess only too well. If I had so desired, I could have single-handed made Ayodhya mine and even the entire earth. But one should not misuse one's power. Do you agree? I am afraid of being called an adharmi and I desire a place in the heavens. That was the sole reason which made me withhold my wrath and renounce the kingdom. Rama was shedding tears at the thought of his mother and his father and the happenings in Ayodhya, and so he sat, silent, thoughtful, and to Lakshmana he seemed like a fire which had burnt itself to ashes, like the ocean which had become silent. He spoke in a very soft and comforting voice. You are right. There will be no joy in the minds of the people of Ayodhya, and the city will be sunk in gloom. You are not there, and to them it will be like the sky which has no moon to brighten it. Rama, it is not meet that you should grieve so much. You are making Sita and me sad too. Neither Sita nor your servant Lakshmana can live without you even for a moment. Like fish which die when they are taken out of water, we will die soon. But one thing is certain, brother. I have no desire to see my father or my brother Shatrughna or my mother. I do not desire even heaven if its gates should be held open for me unless you are with me. What has happened, and no amount of thought or tears can help us to correct it. Bharata is sure to take good care of our aged father and our mothers too. Do not grieve too much. If you are unhappy, so will we be, and who is to comfort us? They took shelter under the spreading Nyogrodha tree and spent the night in peace. Rama found great comfort in the words spoken by Lakshmana. He told him, My beloved Lakshmana, I have shed my grief about my father and my mother. I should not have asked you to go back to Ayodhya. I need you by my side even as you need me. Let us together spend the stipulated number of years in the forest happily. In the midst of that wide land which had no inhabitants except the birds and animals, the two princes slept under the tree, and they looked like lions in the caves of a mountain, noble looking and fearless. So passed their first night in the forest. Jai Shri Ram. Om Shri Ramar Pranamastu. Chapter 23 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, the Ashrama of Bharadwaja. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. After spending a night peacefully under the shade of the Nyogrodha tree, Rama, Sita and Lakshmana rose up early in the morning. There was a feeling of holiness in their minds, and silently they worshipped the rising sun, chanting the Gayatri. They walked fast, entering the very heart of the forest. Sights which they had never seen before confronted their eyes, and they walked happily, feasting their eyes on the novel scenes and the beautiful trees and flowers unknown to the city dwellers. Sita was greatly excited at the sight of it all, and Rama would smile indulgently whenever she pointed out something new to him. They travelled towards the sacred region of Sangama, where the river Yamuna entered Ganga. The path was not very difficult, and the sun had not reached the high heavens either. Rama was looking around for a place to rest, since the sun was now fast climbing in the sky. He said, Lakshmana, look there, in the distance, close to the sacred spot Sangama, where the golden waters of the Ganga merge with the midnight blue of the Yamuna. I can perceive a plume of smoke. I gather there is an ashrama there, and rishis must be living in that ashrama. I am sure we have reached the sacred spot Sangama or Prayaga, since the roar of the impact of the two rivers can be heard. I am almost sure it is the ashrama of the great sage Bharadwaja which we are nearing. They walked fast, unmindful of the heat of the sun, which was rising steadily higher and higher in the sky. All on a sudden, a cool breeze set in, indicating that the sun was wheeling towards the west, and when it was almost setting, they arrived at the ashrama of Bharadwaja. Rama went to the vicinity of the ashrama. For a moment, the birds and the deer in the ashrama were startled by the arrival of strangers. The three of them stood some distance from where the rishi resided. They were eager to meet him and pay their respects. They entered the ashrama, prostrated before Bharadwaja, and announced themselves. He was a great rishi, so rich in tapas that he was able to know the past, the present, and the future. He was well read and was greatly respected by all rishis. He was bent on meditation and he had performed all the many types of tapas. He had in his ashrama many disciples who were studying the sacred lore and the shastras under his guidance. Rama said, "My lord, we are the sons of King Dasharatha, who rules over Kosala. This is my brother Lakshmana. She is Sita, my wife, and she is the daughter of Janaka. She has accompanied me to the forest. My father has commanded me to live in the forest, and this, my brother, in his affection for me, has decided to accompany me. We will have to live like the rishis there in the Dandaka to accompany. We will have to live like the rishis there in the Dandaka forest, to which I am proceeding as per the wishes of my father. We have come to you to ask you for your blessings." Bharadwaja listened to the words of Rama. He spoke softly and affectionately to them, and after their meager repast, he indicated to them a place where they could rest and spend the night. Peopled as it was by deer and birds as well as other rishis, the ashrama welcomed Rama. The great sage was extremely happy to have them as his guests. The young princes were seated before the rishi. Bharadwaja said, "Finally, after waiting a long time, I have been able to see you here, Rama. With my inner eye, I have seen that this banishment is for no fault of yours. Look at this ashrama and the beautiful spot where it is situated. The kshetra is sacred. This sangama, where the two great rivers mingle. If you so desire, you can spend your time here." Rama pondered for a moment and said, "I am honored by your invitation. But, my lord, it will not be right. If the people of Ayodhya come to know of the fact that I am here, they will come here often to see me, since this ashrama is not too far away from the city. To see me and Sita, they will be making frequent journeys to this place, and it is not right. This is the sole reason why I have to deny myself the happiness of staying in these glorious surroundings. Please suggest to us a place where we can be away from people, where Sita can pursue her worship of the Lord with no one to disturb her." Bharadwaja was convinced that Rama spoke the truth when he voiced his fear about the nearness of the city to the ashrama. He said, "Rama, 10 krosas from here is a mountain by name Chitrakuta. It is as beautiful as the Gandhamadana mountain. All around this Chitrakuta are trees and waterfalls and lakes which will please the eye. It is inhabited by rishis, and it is a hill famed for the number of monkeys dwelling there. Once a man sets his eye on the peaks of Chitrakuta, his mind will never dwell on unholy thoughts, and he will be blessed. Several rishis have attained their salvation after performing tapas in Chitrakuta. I consider this hill to be the ideal place for your dwelling. Next, of course, to this ashrama where you are welcome to stay." The rishi entertained them with great gladness in his heart. He knew who Rama really was, and it was to him a blessing that Rama had graced his ashrama. After they had conversed on various topics, they found that night had set in, and Rama with Sita and Lakshmana spent a very happy night there in that sacred place. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattuliyam Rama Nama Varanane. Shri Ramarpanamas. Chapter 23a of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda, the ashrama of Bharadwaja. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. In the morning, Rama approached the Rishi Bharadwaja, who was like Agni. So radiant was he because of his tapas. He said, "Entertained by your graciousness, we spent the night very happily in your ashrama. Please grant us leave to proceed further on our journey." All through the night, Rishi Bharadwaja's thoughts had been with Rama and his proposed stay in Chitrakuta. He said, "I am of the opinion that you should proceed to Chitrakuta. It is full of fruit trees and overflowing with honey. It is a blessed mountain and very picturesque. It is famed among the rishis as a spot which has granted them salvation. Elephants and deer are numerous there. Sita and you can wander on the banks of the river, near the waterfalls, on the mountain tops. The caves will be new for Sita and the slopes too. You will always hear the music made by the sparrows and koils. This beautiful Chitrakuta will be the ideal place for you." The princes were ready to leave. The rishi blessed them by reciting special verses meant for those going on a journey, and he went with them a short distance as a father will. Bharadwaja told Rama, "When you reach the Sangama, where the two rivers meet, proceed towards the east and walk along the banks of the Yamuna. Walk along the path which is well worn by constant usage, and when you reach a possible place which you think fit, make a raft and cross the river. After crossing the river, you must still pursue your course until you come to a Nyogrodha tree. This tree is a sacred tree. It has been worshipped by Siddhas too, and it is named Shyama. You cannot miss it, since it is very big and occupies a place which cannot be passed without your seeing it. Let Sita make a pradakshina to it and offer prayers to the tree. When she has worshipped the tree, you can all rest a while or go further into the forest. If you travel a distance of another krosha, you will reach a forest filled with palasa and badari trees. The forest will be dark because of the bamboos growing along the banks of Yamuna. The path inside the forest is very beautiful. It is kind to the feet, and you do not find the hardships of the forest there. I have often walked in that path." Rama listened to the directions given by Bharadwaja and said, "I will follow the path indicated by you." They took leave of the rishi, who bade farewell to them, and Bharadwaja went back to his ashrama, his mind still filled with thoughts of Rama and the time he had spent with him. When the rishi had left, Rama said, "Lakshmana, the sage Bharadwaja is very gracious towards us. We are fortunate to have found such a godfather to guide us." Talking of the rishi and the picturesque Chitrakuta which they were impatient to reach, the brothers, with Sita walking between them, walked along the banks of the Yamuna. The waters of the river were flowing rapidly, and they were looking for a suitable place where they could cross the river. Soon they reached a spot where the turbulence of the river was not so apparent. They asked Sita to rest under a tree. Together they collected dry woods, bamboos, soft grass, and soon they made a raft. They spread grass on it and made it comfortable. Lakshmana collected soft and pliable creepers, and weighing them together, he made a beautiful seat for Sita. Rama made Sita climb onto the raft, and she sat down on the seat made for her. By the side of Sita, Rama and Lakshmana placed their weapons, the basket, the spade, and the clothes and jewels which the king had given Sita. They pushed the raft into the water and then got onto it. Slowly they steered it in the waters, and Sita prayed to Yamuna even as she did to Ganga at the beginning of their journey. Soon they reached the opposite bank, the southern bank. Abandoning the raft, they walked further along the banks, which were known by the name Yamuna Vana. Very soon they reached the Negrodha tree, which the Rishi had told them about. The shade was extremely cool and pleasant since the tree was dense with green leaves. Sita went toward the tree and made pradakshina as she had been told by Bharadwaja. She said, I salute you, O holy tree. Please make my husband succeed in his undertaking. Grant us that we return to Ayodhya safe and see our elders. Rama was watching her all the while and said, Come, let us not tarry. Lakshmana, you lead and Sita will walk after you. I will follow her. Remember, Lakshmana, if on the way Sita admires any flower or fruit, you must at once make haste and get it for her. She should be kept happy. They decided not to spend any time near the tree but began the last lap of their journey. But one krosa more and they would reach their destination. Rare flowers and trees and creepers would meet her eyes and Sita would promptly ask Rama about them. Rama would reply her with enthusiasm which was equal to hers, and often she would be given a branch with clusters of flowers by Lakshmana. Sita was thrilled at the sight of the river with its sandy banks, the birds and flowers floating on it, and with the music of the birds and the running water. They covered the distance of a krosa and walked in search of a place to stay. Soon they discerned a spot on the river bank. It was very charmingly located and peacocks and monkeys were sporting there. The long trek had tired them and it was decided that the night should be spent in that lovely spot on the river bank. Jai Shri Ram. Apadamahartaram dhataram sarvasampadam lokaviramam Shri Ramam bhuyo bhuyo namamyaham. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 24 of Ramayana's Ayodhya Kanda. Chitrakuta at last. Om Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. When they woke up in the morning, for a moment they stood spellbound. So breathtaking was the beauty of the place. Rama sounded happy and excited. He said, Lakshmana, listen to the noise made by the inmates of the forest. Come, let us continue our search for the place to live in. The mountain by name Chitrakuta. Lakshmana had already shed the drowsiness of sleep and he was not tired either. They began walking in the path indicated by Bharadwaja. Rama was showing to Sita the beautiful trees and flowers which were all along the way. He said, Sita, look, the palasa tree here have shed all their leaves during the cold season, and now, when the flowers have bloomed on the branches, the trees look as though they are burning with crimson flames. Look at this tree laden with fruit. I am sure I can spend my entire lifetime living on these fruits. They are so luscious. Lakshmana, see there, every tree has a beehive in it, and each is so large. They look like small boats hung from the tree branches. This tiny bird is singing and the peacock is answering in its rough voice. The ground is strewn with forest flowers and the scent is intoxicating. We have almost reached Chitrakuta mountain. We are near enough to discern the herds of elephants. I am certain we will be very happy on the hill surrounded by the trees. Very soon they reached the beautiful mountain Chitrakuta. They ascended the hill slowly, and all the while Rama was looking around for a place fit enough for them to build a hermitage. The hill was as Bharadwaja had described. 1,000 different types of birds were there. Flowers and fruits could be seen everywhere, and waterfalls made music all around them. Rama said, "This is indeed a very beautiful spot, and we are fortunate that we were sent here by sage Bharadwaja. I can see the ashrama of rishis scattered round the hill. We can live here without any intruder disturbing our peaceful existence." They came across the ashrama of Valmiki and they visited him. He welcomed them and he said, "Rama, I know why you have come to the forest. I am glad you have decided to live here where the rishis have made their homes." "I will do so," said Rama. After spending some time with the rishi, they took leave of him and went on their way. Rama told Lakshmana, "My beloved brother, collect some sturdy and straight logs of wood. Make sure that they are not from the trees which are forbidden for building an ashrama. I like this particular spot. You must build for me a hermitage here." Lakshmana hastened to obey his brother's orders. He gathered the wood and very soon he completed the construction of the hermitage. It was built very well and roof had a covering of straw and grass. Lakshmana stood before Rama as though he were asking him to approve. Rama was extremely pleased with the skill with which Lakshmana had built the hut. He said, "We are planning to stay here for a length of time. We have to perform certain religious rites to avert evil from entering our ashrama. An offering has to be made in burning fire. You must get the flesh of a deer, and we will make the offering to the god of fire. It is the proper thing to do, and we must obey the dictates of custom." Lakshmana brought the flesh of a deer which he had killed, and at the behest of Rama he cooked it. Rama knew that it was an auspicious day and that it would be a good day to begin his living in the new house. The ritual was called Vastu Shanti, which Rama was so particular about observing. He bathed and recited all the verses meant for the ritual. He prayed to all the devas and, after offering the flesh of the deer into blazing fire, Rama entered the hermitage. He was very contented. He prayed to the gods Rudra, Narayana and Vishwa Devas. After it was all over, Rama bathed again. Lakshmana had assigned different parts inside the hermitage for different purposes. There was a place for performing the daily puja, and there was a sheltered portion where Rama could rest. The three of them entered the ashrama after worshipping all the gods of the forest and the gods who govern the fates of men. Rama was pleased with Lakshmana and he felt that their ashrama was extremely beautiful. Rama looked like one of the gods in the divine hall by name Sudharma. They were happy there, surrounded as they were by nature on all sides. Food they had in abundance, and the river Malyavati, which flowed near their ashrama, was ever making a rustling noise which pleased the ear. They were not unhappy at the thought that they were away from the city and that they were living in the forest. So peaceful was life in Chitrakuta. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu.